And welcome back to a special Jeff Koinange live from Juba, capital of Africa's youngest nation, South Sudan. Barely 5 years old, so many challenges. One man could hold the key to the future. And we are live with him in an exclusive one-on-one. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir Mayadi. So, Mr. President, as I was saying before the break, your relationship with Kenya, very close, very warm. Lots of Kenyans, maybe up to 500,000 Kenyans living and working in South Sudan. Incredible number. But a lot of them fled after July 7th. They fled because, and this is the second time in 5 years, so they're very worried about coming back, Mr. President. First of all, how do you reassure Kenyans? Come back to Juba, come back to South Sudan. Your safety will be guaranteed.
You know, we don't have any problem with the Kenyan people. Kenya gave us sanctuary during the war, and Kenya was the bridge to South Sudan, where something called Operation Lifeline Sudan was established, so that UN agencies were based in Kenya, and their operations were coming to South Sudan on a regular basis to save the people who were caught up in the war zone. So we did not have any problem. Our children were in Kenya. We also, the leaders, go to Kenya. We mix with them. We made so many friends among the Kenyans. So we don't have any problem with them. When peace came, before we could become independent, Kenyans, Ugandans, Ethiopians, Eritreans, many others from West Africa, from wherever they come from, they came to South Sudan. And they established businesses there.
A lot of them have now fled, got back.
Yeah. The people who are going back because maybe of what happened in 2013, but not of today. One is that of the 2013 ringing in mind, and number two, the propaganda being waged against our country by the people who want South Sudan to sink further down, deep into the ocean. This is why they are running away, because they are being scared, including our own South Sudanese. They are now crossing the borders. Those who have lost relatives in Uganda are crossing to Uganda. Those who think that they know Kenya is nearer to them, they are crossing to Kenya.
Yeah.
So it is not only the business people in Kenya. That thing has effects on the economy. I don't deny that. And so, what is it? How can I assure them?
Yeah.
Even if I tell them that they know, come back, you have no danger, and they don't see it by themselves, they will not accept what I'm saying. The only thing to convince them is to keep the guns silent, the way they are now.
Yeah. Are you going to guarantee that?
I can guarantee that.
I was talking to some senior bankers in Nairobi, and you know, KCB, Equity, CFC stand big here. But they were complaining now that we can't get any money out. The dollar's being held, the banks are holding the dollars because your economy is in major trouble.
Right.
Would you tell them?
It was not my making. Even in Kenya, there are banks also who have suffered the same fate that our banks are suffering. But whose mistake is it? We in South Sudan were depending, our economy was based on one source of income. That is oil. But with our troubles in South Sudan, oil also suffered its own fate. that the oil prices internationally dropped. Number two, our own oil production got reduced because of the war. Some of the wells that were functioning were destroyed by the rebels, so they have to be shut down. So that thing cannot make in any war situation, economy cannot grow except when you stop war and you resume the production of the oil. This is when you will come up again.
Yeah, but it didn't help, Mr. President, when some of your ministers and some senior people in government were stealing money, corruption.
Right?
They say maybe $3 billion in the last 5 years. How?
What is the source of this war now? The source of this war was that I charged the ministers to return what they have taken, or else I will go and look for the banks that they have hidden the money in, and I will take measures against them. This is why those of Machar staged the coup to defend themselves. And to be frank with you, some of my money are banked in Kenya.
From these corrupt people?
From these corrupt people.
They're hiding it in Kenya?
They are hiding it in Kenya.
You know this?
And they have refused to reveal.
But you know this for a fact?
Okay. So what is it?
You have your hands tied behind your back, Mr. President. That's what it is. You're trying to get your money. You're trying to throw people in jail. Everyone's fighting you.
I have written even to President Obama to tell him that they helped me to recover this money, because some money is hidden in the US, because some of these ministers have bought apartments, they have bought very beautiful houses, villas in America.
Yeah.
How did they take this money there to buy? The money is there, but you know what was told to me was that they always don't expose their customers unless if I know the names of the banks and the account numbers and the names of the people. This one they will now help.
Yeah. And these are your same people here trying to run this young nation.
These are the same people.
It must disappoint you sometimes.
Very much disappointing. I'm very much disappointed when I get to such answers.
When people say South Sudan independence came too soon, you weren't ready for it, what do you tell them?
How long did we fight?
2 decades.
More than that. Fighting started in South Sudan 1955 in August. Except for the 11 years when Nemeri
Yes.
made an agreement with the Anyanya, so that 1972 to 1983, that was the lull that we did not fight. It resumed again 1983 all the way to 2005. So fighting has been so long in South Sudan.
It looks like it's in your DNA.
I don't know.
Can you transition, Mr. President, after what's happened the last 5 years? Can this country transition to peace and eventual prosperity?
We can. The country can. If we do it the way it has been planned, I think we can transition out of this crisis.
Will you reassure the banks in Kenya who really want to do business with South Sudan? Will you reassure them that things will get better?
I will. I can assure them, even now, I can assure them that just don't rush into your decisions. Things will get better.
How soon do you, how much time do you give yourself, Mr. President? 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Well, as soon as we silence the guns and peace become, accepted by everybody in South Sudan, it will not take us that much time to recover.
If Dr. Garang was alive today, I think he'd be very disappointed in what's happening.
I don't know whether he would have handled such a situation or not. Because these things happened during his lifetime, where Riek Machar and his colleagues, those of Lamako, staged a coup against them in 1991. And just imagine, Garang was in Torit, we were in Torit, and they were in Nasser, in eastern Upper Nile, and they said they have overthrown John Garang. Even student politics are not like that. But that was the case. So Dr. Garang, if he was alive today, he would have seen whether he would have managed to resist these coups or not. But he will be very disappointed.
Yeah. Do you miss him? Do you miss him?
Yes, I miss him. I miss him. There are occasions that when we were together and such a situation happens, we would be sitting, two of us, and we will then, at the end, we will come out with a solution to that problem.
And now you don't have that colleague, that counterpart to.
No.
It's a lonely job, isn't it?
Very lonely. It is the most lonely job because you lose your friends, you lose your friends, you lose your colleagues. I said the other time that it is a voluntary imprisonment.
Voluntary imprisonment.
Yes.
So you wouldn't wish it on your best friend?
Well, if your best friend wishes it to do it,
Yes.
you tell him that.
Yes.
I told one of my colleagues, the current president of Zambia, when he was campaigning to become the president, I told him, my brother, you do it, but you know that the day you will succeed, I wish you a success. But that day, you will find yourself that you have walked into a prison unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
Yeah. He said, what happens? I said, first of all, you will not again be allowed to go with anybody, with everybody. There are only ministers that will come to you in the office and all that. But you will not go to social occasions. You will not even go to your best restaurants where you eat the best meal. You will not be allowed to go there. You will be forced always to eat what is brought to you, not what you want. So I counted many things to him. Now when we meet, this is the first thing he reminds me.
You told me.
He said you told me the other time. So it is a good job when people understand themselves. because you will work with your mind at ease, you can plan properly, you can do everything without any tension. You are not worried that some people are doing sinister plans behind you and all that.
Yeah.
But in a situation like South Sudan, one can be really think twice or otherwise.
Yeah.
Like when it happened here, and we were sitting on these chairs. What is it if I had just jumped out of the office and run? That would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
Even those who want to make business in South Sudan, they would have not thought of coming.
Mm. If there's one thing you could have changed in the last 5 years, Mr. President, one thing you could have done differently, what would it be?
Well, development needs roads. That if you have roads, if you have connectivity by land, then you can change many things in a short time.
Yeah.
And we are a landlocked country. There is nowhere that we could prosper if we don't have roads. This is what I had wanted to do, to link up with the Sudan, to link up with the neighboring countries, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, and all that.
There's still time for that, isn't there? There's still time.
There is still time.
Yeah. You were saying earlier on, you're part of IGAD, South Sudan. South Sudan is obviously part of the African Union, but they don't give you the respect you deserve. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly.
Would you say
And especially after this, because they leave the criminal and they put the criminal. Like now, the last one, it was a palace coup, which was staged by Dr. Machar. Who among these presidents can leave that person to go, get away with it? Kiir Machar was in my hands here. If I was just to turn his pistol and shoot him, who would have blamed me?
nobody?
But they would have condemned me all that, I lured him to the palace to come and kill him.
Right.
And,
Which is what they say, which is what they would have said.
I did not lure him to come and kill him. He had the intention of coming to kill me. Otherwise, he would have found me with my guns.
And you know how to use them.
I know how to use them.
So do you feel like sometimes this job of yours, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't?
Yes. And so, but I'm happy that I saved his life. I protected him. And that is,
And if he comes back now, if he says he wants to come back, what would you tell him? Because you've already replaced him, you have a new first vice president.
well, he will remain with me as if he accepts to stay. He can stay as ordinary South Sudanese citizen.
You will allow him back to Juba?
I will allow him.
Let him stay here, retire, and
I'll let him come, and if the African Union and the IGAD want to protect him, because what they mean by bringing forces in is to come and protect Machar, not any civilian.
you think that's what they mean?
This is what they want. So I would propose that even a battalion, if it is the life of Riek Machar, which has become much more important than the lives of the people of South Sudan, then let them pick out 500 soldiers from this unionist force, which is, there are Kenyans, there are Rwandans, there are Ethiopians. From these forces, let them pick one battalion or 500 men to protect this Machar.
You will give him 500 men?
As a citizen.
You will give him 500 men?
These are foreigners. They will not fight us.
But you're willing to protect him with?
And so to feel comfortable. Because people think that, you know, if I find him, I will not talk to him, I will just shoot him.
Mm.
But that is not my interest. Mm. I have peace in my mind.
You do, huh?
How do you do it?
Even during the war, I was not known for just killing people. One of the peaceful commanders that Dr. John had was me.
Is that right? Are you afraid when people talk about the ICC? Are you afraid that eventually they may come for you? They may come for Dr. Machar. They may come for the leading commanders. Are you afraid? Are you worried?
Well, I'm not worried because I'm innocent. I have done nothing. It was Riek Machar who actually provoked that situation, which led to the death of many people. Yeah, I did not.
Mr. President, we're going to take a break, come back, because earlier on you had told us that it is safe in Juba, and you took us around for a walk. Stay tuned for that. Jeff Koinange live from the South Sudanese capital, Juba. When we come back, earlier on, a walk around the palace with the president. You know you don't want to miss that. Back in a moment.